Welcome to the Thriving Artist Podcast, where we share strategies and support for artists to thrive.
We know that the art world can feel like a lonely place, and we want to provide a network of support, impactful strategies, and an abundance of encouragement to help you grow your authentic art career.
We're your hosts. I'm Jamie Smith.
And I'm Kaylan Butine, and we are also the co-founders of the Thrive Together Network, a community of female and non-binary identifying artists and artists who are caregivers.
We truly believe in community over competition, and we're so glad you're here. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to this episode of the Thriving Artist Podcast. We are so glad that you are here. I'm Jamie Smith, and I am one of your hosts. And for me, money is a powerful tool that allows me to keep making art and doing the work that really fills me up.
And I'm Kaylan Butine, your second host. And for me, money is a powerful tool that allows me to support my family in living a life that feels really inspiring and fulfilling for us. So you probably guessed it. We're going to be talking about money today, and we're going to share an episode called How to Cultivate Your Money Mindset. Mindset plays such a big part when we think about money and when we think about creating a rich artist's life. We all have lots of feelings about money, and whether we like it or not, it is a cornerstone of our society, of being modern people, of being artists in the world. For me, at different times, money has really felt like either a supportive friend or it's felt like this dark shadow that kind of looms. And I'm sure that is true for many of you too.
Totally. And I feel like this has definitely been my story at different times. And for me, I started my sort of intentional money journey where I really worked on shifting my mindset about 5 years ago. And I needed guidance. I needed a mentor to be able to do this. So I actually used a business kind of money coach, a Canadian named Leah Gourd, who really helped me understand that I needed to think more intentionally about my money. I felt that the minute I kind of understood or felt at peace about my money, another expense would come up and unexpectedly I'd be back at square one. So I just never felt like I was ahead. And I felt like I wasn't in control or in the driver's seat at all with this.
Yeah. And sometimes control can be a sort of icky word, but I think what we really want is to feel like we know what's happening with our money, and that knowledge comes from having a good mindset and really understand sort of what's happening behind the scene. And that knowledge can help us to feel powerful and to feel like we have control, whether we have a lot of money or not. This isn't about how much money we have, but it's just about how we feel in the money that we do have and the way that we manage and think about our money. So in our conversation today, Jamie and I are going to share some ahas or sort of some big things or realizations that have come to us that have really helped shift our money mindset to something more intentional, something that feels more healthy for us, realizations that have really changed everything and helped us feel like we have some of that control back, and that we can feel confident in who we are as artists and how we exist as people who are part of capitalism, part of an economy, and as people who have money. So we just want to start by saying that we know that money is a sensitive topic. It can be more sensitive for some of you than others. And we hope that we're creating an atmosphere here that is gentle, that is safe, and that just sort of guides you to some bigger ways to think about this and to shift your mindset in ways that feel good for you. So where are we starting? What aha are we digging into first, Jamie?
So the first aha I wanted to share is a really big one, and it definitely was a surprise to me. So when I started my money work, I was so focused on money and actually the numbers in my account. And really what I was asked to do was to understand my stories. So my money stories. And this was I'd never heard this language before. To me, money was very straightforward. I didn't have any and I didn't know why. And instead, it was actually this idea that the way we deal with money, and money is actually a relationship. And like all relationship, these are learned and they're deeply rooted in how we were brought up and different times in our life. And so I started to really dig into how I was raised and how I thought about money. And what I realized was that I was raised around a family of teachers, builders, accountants, all that were jobs that were very much, we provide a service, it fulfills a role, it helps people in very clear ways. And that was really like people were very proud in my family of that. And it's amazing. And so I kind of followed suit and I went and became a teacher. But when I decided to leave teaching and really focus on art, my deep money story and my big struggle was that I didn't believe in it in many ways. I was sort of realized that I didn't know I was doing this, but subconsciously I was feeling frivolous. I felt that I wasn't really helping people. And therefore, it translated in that I couldn't possibly deserve to make a living in a real way from this profession. And even the idea of it being a profession or saying, it took me a long time to say I'm an artist. It was, this was all beginning times of working through this and understanding what was happening.
Okay.
And
so relatable, just have to say.
Right?
Like, I get it. I get it.
And it took, without knowing what was happening, these were all running subconsciously. It was all running around the way, even as I'm sure you can relate to this, Kaylan, of being, people saying, what do you do? Before I could say, I'm a teacher, and people felt really, I could tell they were like, approved, like that's a job I get. And then artist, I got the weirdest responses. And so I shied away from speaking very like proudly. And what that did is starts to subconsciously also make me wonder, is this real? And so it does a lot of damage. But again, if we don't know what's happening, it's really bad. So once I started to was free to be told, look at your stories, look at these things that you're kind of running in the background, I could then start to retrain myself and think differently about the purpose of being an artist, about the purpose of art in people's lives, and it can help people. So again, it's kind of, there's two parts to this where it's, you learn the story, you realize it's deep, you realize that, oh my goodness, how am I going to work through this? And then sort of on the tail end of this, of knowing your story, is Leah Gord, this business coach I've been speaking about. She does lots of work on this, and she talks about collecting evidence. So we've been given our whole life evidence that you need, for me, it was, you need to provide a service that is good for this world to get paid, and that's how this works. And I needed to rewrite. I needed to collect evidence that being an artist was worthy, that art was helpful to people. So one thing that I did that it seems very counterintuitive, but it helped me so much, was I actually started to buy art from other artists. And I wanted to see the feeling of buying art and why this is important and what it would be like to have art in my home. And this kind of changed everything. Of course, I tried a few different things, but I would say this was my biggest aha of collecting evidence that this really worked for me. Because again, money is the issue here. I felt like I didn't have enough, but I started putting aside a little bit. And I would, even buy, my first one was a print, but having that in my house, and then I had friends come over and I say, oh, this is my piece of art. I met the artist. It means this. And I got so much joy out of that. And I got so much joy, and I was, this is purposeful. This is a service. I also loved the way my house looked. I took a lot more pride in my home. All of these things, yes, they're not as clear cut as I am an accountant, I am doing your taxes. But I found it deeply powerful. And that journey has helped me rewrite a lot of these stories. I now very proudly say I am an artist, and my art collection is really important to me. I actually just made a whole Skillshare class about hanging a gallery wall, and one of the lessons I included as sort of a homage to my journey was a lesson on how to buy art, because I was thinking that, if I could spread the word a little bit of how important this is, I
Hmm.
want, it could build up artists, but also it is going to be so useful for people to see the joy that comes from this. So this was a lengthy one, but I just feel so passionate about it because, the idea of being an artist is frivolous and it's not helping people is something that is a story that I worked through. It's a mindset that I've had to cultivate. So whatever your story is, know that this takes time.
Yeah.
But once you identify it, you start collecting your evidence to really flip that story and kind of make it your power. That's what it was for me, saying, I'm making this course all about this thing that I've struggled with so much. And all of a sudden, I really feel in the driver's seat of that story. So
Awesome. Absolutely. And I won't go too much into sharing my own money stories, but just to, say that I also have done work around trying to identify the way I was raised and what money was sort of taught to me to be, like what were kind of the things, the values that were given to me in the ways that my parents, my grandparents, the people around me, how they valued money, and how that might not line up with the way that I feel about money now, and how I can do some work to rewrite that. So again, back to the top, our first, sort of tip, or our first aha in cultivating your money mindset is to investigate and know your stories, and then think about how you might want to rewrite those, right?
hello, amazing artists. Jamie here with a quick note. Kaylan and I are so excited to share that we are launching DIY courses on the TTN network. We want members to have access to the knowledge they need to thrive. I'm especially excited as I will be sharing my popular class, the Business Planning for Artists course, on the network. This is made up of video content that you can work through at your own pace. And because I truly believe in community, there, of course, is a network group, and this is where members can connect, ask questions directly to me. I am here to help. I have taught this course many times over the years. I have helped countless artists create a business plan to help them thrive. And this TTN course is an accumulation of everything I have learned. There are new video lessons, there's the business plan PDF, financial money tracker spreadsheet, community prompts, and more. The course is $90 and you will leave with a full business plan to help you guide you throughout your year ahead or wherever you're at in your business cycle. You will learn strategies and systems that you can stick to for your entire career. Seriously, this is a tool that you can use over and over again. So get ready to create a vision for your business, get clear on your why, price your offerings, get your financials organized. You will map out sales targets for each month and plan a marketing strategy that gets you there. Finally, at the end, we're going to create a full roadmap with action steps to guide you throughout the next months of your business or the next year. This course is useful no matter where you are as an artist. If you are full-time as an artist, this business plan is going to help you get a path to move forward, kind of give you that plan you might be craving. If art is your side hustle, this is going to help you move that towards your goals, whatever those may be. The strategies and tools can support you at any stage of your career, and they're going to help boost you to the next. So hop on the network, and under the courses tab, you will be able to purchase the Business Planning for Artists course right away and get started. I can't wait to help you grow and thrive as an artist.
So I'm going to move us along to our second cultivating your money mindset aha. That is this idea that money is a tool. And this is a big one for me that does feed into some of my stories. I think I was raised in a home where, there was a lot of bad feelings around money. And so just the concept of money was thought of as something that is bad. we are also fed these stories from media that people who are rich are people who do bad things with money. Maybe they've gotten their money in a bad way, or, they spend it in ways that we may not agree with. We also worship wealth as a culture, right? Like we think rich people are interesting and we want to have a lot of money, but then it's kind of this twofold thing where, there's a lot of insecurity, a lot of scarcity, a lot of people who don't have money in our society. And so, kind of some of the shame and blame then turns on people with money. And it's just a very complicated thing. But the truth, is that money is just a tool, just like our health is a tool, our time is a tool. We can use money for many things. Money itself is not good or bad. It's just a tool and it's an exchange of energy. And we always have a choice with how we get to think about money, right? Money isn't the thing that changes. No matter how much we have, it's the person, right, who has the money and the person who has the mindset that decides how their money is spent. So you can be a generous person even if you have a few $100s in your bank account. Like you might give some of that money away, you might be generous with your time. You might have $1 million in your bank account, and that doesn't, even if you give a certain portion of it away, that doesn't necessarily make you a generous person, right? It's having the mindset to be generous, to live in abundance, versus that scarcity mindset. So again, money doesn't change us. It's a tool that we decide how we want to use in our lives. And personally, I want to see rich artists in this world. I want to see artists who have money, because artists are people that will use that money, will use wealth for good, that will make the world a more inspiring and beautiful place. And that's the kind of world I want to live in. So our second aha is that money is a tool. We can disassociate good or bad feelings around it, but just keeping it more neutral and recognizing that it is a tool that you can use for a lot of good in the world.
I want to be in the world where artists know their numbers, they have their money, and they are, changing the world through that. It is a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super important. And I think this leads really into this idea of wealth and artist wealth into our third aha. Is that where we're at? 3?
Yep, number 3.
Big number 3. And, cultivating this money mindset, but it's focusing on your artist wealth. So wealth is quite different from money. And I don't know if anyone has heard this saying in the financial lands of what is your personal wealth? So personal wealth is calculated by your assets minus your total liabilities. So asset is defined as something that you own that holds economic value and is deemed to bring future earnings, which I really like this idea of this, money is the thing you have right now, but this wealth can be also this future aspect. So financial sense is defined as cash, property, patents, trademarks, and there's lots more. And I started thinking a lot about this wealth. And to me, it is much broader than just financial wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think as being an artist, we have chosen this life because we can't do anything else. We just, probably a lot of us have tried. And I think of that sometimes as like a blessing and a curse. I think of an emerging artist asking me, what should I do? I think my answer would be try to do anything else. Not just kidding. But it is one of those things where we have chosen this. I have yet to meet the artist that tells me they've chosen to be an artist for the money. Like I cannot wait for the day that we live in such an abundant artist community that is the answer. But right now, we are here because we have to be here. And that is so wonderful. And it's really the long game. So what I love the idea about thinking about your artist wealth as a money mindset is to actually think about, money is important. We need to cultivate that. We need to grow that. But also there's wealth in time spent making what we want to make, time spent with our loved ones, flexible hours when we have that, time to think and dream and my dad said this to me once, and he said, you've made this choice to go your own path. And what an amazing thing that you get to think about anything you want to think about.
Mm,
And I never thought about it in that way. And I remember, prior in jobs, I was told what to think about because I had a task at hand. And I get
mhm.
that. And they were paying me. So I had to think about what they wanted. But there is such wealth in the choice to be
Yes.
able to care about what we care about and think about those things. So I think this one, I really, this aha for me was really celebrating the wealth that is being an artist.
Mhm.
And money is one part of that. And we want it to feel like celebration, not something that is this looming shadow. And, that is really the mindset piece of this, is thinking ourselves as wealthy, wonderful artists.
Yep,
It's so exciting.
absolutely. Yeah, and I think just in a practical way, like take a few minutes to write down what are your assets and what sort of qualifies as your wealth. And I think you'll probably feel a lot more wealthy than maybe your bank account says you are, right? Because it's
Yeah.
not just about the numbers in the account.
And how would you, when we think about that, it's how would we act differently if we felt wealthy?
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
I think we would. And I think if we did that minor shift of just
Mhm.
that we are wealthy artists living our lives, I bet you that would translate into, it would ripple effect into the bank account. I really do.
Absolutely. And Jamie, this leads us into the fourth aha in cultivating your money mindset, which is, like you just shared, really about thinking of abundance over scarcity. It's about thinking of the positive, the wealth, the growing, the abundance versus the negative. The fourth thing that we want you to think about is setting savings goals versus going straight into budget mindset or making cuts or focusing on not spending. So again, we're not telling you not to have a budget or to not figure out where your money is going and maybe make some changes, but it's just how you're thinking about it. It's how you're writing the script, right? So focus on what you want to save, build something, right? Rather than feeling like something is being taken away. Focus on what you want left in your bank account at the end of each month or the end of the year, rather than budgeting for things being taken out, right? You're not necessarily doing anything different, but you're shifting the mindset around money leaving and making you feel scarce towards money building and growing and being there for you and being supportive, and making you feel that sense of abundance. And in order to save money, we really believe you need to know your numbers, and so that you can set realistic goals and feel empowered in this saving, this good, abundant money mindset. So, in the next few episodes, we're going to be talking about what we mean when we say we want you to know your numbers. We're going to talk about the mindset and sort of the theoretical idea of knowing your numbers, why it's important, and then also practical steps in another episode to literally tell you how you can figure out your numbers so that you know those things. So, be on the lookout for those next episodes coming up. And we also are rolling all this out. We're sharing all this information about money mindset because we're releasing our first DIY course on the Thrive Together network. Jamie's course that she's worked so hard on, she shared with artists in her past communities and has had much success with it. It's called the Artist Business Planning course. And that course will walk you through how to kind of go through these steps so that you can feel more empowered and really have the knowledge, and the foundation for feeling and walking in and knowing your rich, abundant artist life.
Yes. And it's something, I think, because my life changed so much with doing this work, that I'm so passionate about it.
Mhm.
And so
You're good at it.
it's so exciting to be sharing these episodes and be launching this course. And this really leads into a big part of this process that is really important that we cannot forget. And for our money mindset, aha, our last one is really giving yourself grace in the process
Mm.
and really allowing yourself to understand that money work is hard work, especially if you're someone that has avoided this work, you find it very uncomfortable, it's not just going to happen overnight. Listening to this episode, I hope you feel really inspired and empowered, but you probably will mentally hit a barrier right away because we want to protect ourselves. And our mind is like, you know what? It's really hard if you go there. Let's just not. And so, we are deeply rooted in these stories. And so we need to, really, this mindset work is the beginning. So you are at the beginning, and if you've done this, well done, and you feel confident in this, I'm so happy. And I hope that this episode serves to be a little bit pat on the back mode for you, which is always important too. And so we really, want to get to the root of our stories. We want to collect our evidence, define our wealth. And then the key is knowing our numbers to set these goals where we actually can have wins instead of always feeling like we're falling behind or feel like we're never making these goals, but maybe the goals weren't set in reality of our numbers. That's a big one, right? So finding resources that speak to you in this journey to really bring that grace to the process. So this can be a money coach, this could be podcasts, books, but finding someone that speaks your language is going to really help in guiding you through this process. And this is always continually learning and growing this wealth mindset to help you achieve your goals. It is totally possible no matter what stage of the journey you're on. And it's just about, pushing through. And unfortunately, there's no easy button on this. So
no easy button. And, I guess Jamie and I are willing to go there and talk about the hard stuff because this, it's hard to put ourselves out here and to, bring you episodes about money, just as artists, as people who are trying to live abundantly and not shy away from, the things that we want for you. Jamie and I are also trying to cultivate that wealth, that abundance in our own lives. And it can be uncomfortable to kind of share this with you, but we hope, again, that we are doing it in a way that helps you feel safe and supported and just gives you a little nudge to go a little deeper, but be gracious with yourself in the process. So those are our steps to cultivating your money mindset. Again, we have more episodes coming up that are all about money, and we are just really excited and celebrating the launch of the DIY course on the Thrive Together network called the Artist Business Planning course that Jamie's put together. You can learn more at thrivetogethernetwork.com. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
As always, Kaylan and I are here for you. We are cheering you on, and we believe in the work you are doing. We believe that you are a wealthy, thriving artist in this world, and we're so excited for you to build your artist wealth.